Hi, MennoNerds. It's Will, and I have a question. What is wrong with kids today? Well, I know I'm sounding old, but it is something that I've been wondering about. I'm on sabbatical right now. I've been very much enjoying an opportunity to write and read and rest and reflect and all those great things. But one of the things that I've enjoyed doing is I spend my Sundays visiting other churches. And I go there and I am ready and equipped to observe and compare theology. I'm ready to contrast worship styles. I'm ready to analyze social engagement, all sorts of things that are happening in the church. But one of the things that I've been most attentive to, and a lot of this is because of my stage of life, but I'm wondering about what is happening with children. When I go to a different church, I see the way that the children behave. And it's very obvious that it's different at different churches. There are some churches where the children are gone. There's a nursery, there's childcare being provided, and so the children are entirely absent during the worship service. There are places where the children are very present. The children are so present that not only is it impossible to ignore them, but it's sometimes more difficult than to pay attention to what's happening in front. Now, it's very clear that people have their preferences, the way that they want their children to be within a worship space. But the fallback seems to be pretty obvious. When I sit in churches where the children are absent and I talk to those parents, they sometimes wonder how they can make their children feel comfortable in the space. Well, it's obvious they don't feel comfortable because they've never been invited. And then I talk to the parents in churches where the children roam free, and later on, those children grow into adolescents and teenagers who can't be bothered to attend church or to listen to other instructions that their parents give. And it seems that those children have never really been given firm instructions and lessons and things they can and cannot do. And so the question that I'm asking isn't really about what do we do with the way that children behave in church, but the way that children are in that space is a microcosm of how they are in other places. And I personally, old-fashioned as I am, believe that children should model good behavior in their public settings in schools and playgrounds, etc., as some way of demonstrating that they live by a different set of values, that they come from families that are guided by different values. So my question is to you, the MennoNerd vlogging community, where do you see yourself on the spectrum? It's a difficult thing to talk about because it seems like either you are judging other people's parenting or you are asserting your own expertise, neither of which I want to do. But I think the question of how we parent, what we expect from children in our society is an important one, and it frames not only our worship spaces, but I think it frames our communities and how we interact with each other. I know that this question is coming in the middle of an important conversation on race and violence stateside, but as a white Canadian, I am happy to listen to the voices of other people in this conversation and not assert my own. I do want to hear what other people have to say about this, other parents, single people, older people, younger people. What does it mean for parents to raise kingdom-minded children? What should the expectations be on those children in society? I don't know. I think this is a kingdom issue. I think it's important, but I know that it comes off sounding judgy when that conversation happens face to face, and so I thought this might be a better avenue to have that. I'd love to hear what you have to say.